On November 2nd, 2025, I completed my first 100% playthrough of Pokemon Legends ZA. During this playthrough, I completed all main missions, all side missions, all research tasks, both Pokedexes, and I also collected all 100 colorful screws, purchased all the canary plushes, and because I wanted to be extra, I purchased all the clothing items in the game. Doing all these tasks took me roughly 68 hours to complete, and I was taking my sweet time with the game. However, during my playthrough, I learned certain things through playing the game naturally that could have potentially saved me time with 100% completion, so I decided to run it back. This is how I 100%ed Pokemon Legends ZA in under 48 hours. I arrive in Lumia City by train and immediately run into Urbane, who is filming a promotional video for his hotel. He asked me to help him out with his video, but we're both distracted by a nearby ad, and in that time, a Pancham steals my bag. After chasing it down and confronting its trainer, it was time to battle her by picking my starter. The main feature of this game is the new battle system. Attacks are made in real time, which correspond to a specific button on the controller rather than the traditional turn-based combat that we are used to. In the beginning, this may seem slow, but that's because we don't have many attacks to choose from, and our team won't be that strong. Eventually, once you level up your team and teach them good moves, gameplay becomes smooth and fast to the point where you can one-shot everything on your opponent's team. Once I finish this battle and level up, the day quickly turns into night, where the player is first introduced to the ZA Battle Royale by being mistaken as a competitor. As the name suggests, this is a battle royale where we battle trainers in battle zones to rise up in the ranks from rank Z to rank A. If you're already familiar with this game and how to obtain the shiny charm, I'm going to be spending a lot of time here in the post game, but that's for later. For now, I defeated this trainer and ran into some trouble. Eventually, Urbane leads me over to Hotel Z, where he introduces me to AZ, the owner of the hotel. I check into my room, then Urbane shows me the view of Prison Tower from the roof, and I turn in for the night. This is where I want to address one of the main time-consuming events in the game, the Force Tutorial. For the past few installments, Pokemon is notorious for having long, unskippable tutorial sections where we are limited on where we need to go, and this game is no different. You can speed this up by mashing through dialogue, which is what I'll be doing for the most part in this playthrough, except during some story-related dialogue because I wanted to discuss the story with my chat. Not only am I speeding through the dialogue during the tutorial, I'm also only going where I need to go during this section of the game, so I can avoid hitting any invisible walls until I'm set free. So, during the tutorial going into the next in-game day, I enroll in the ZA Battle Royale, join Team MZ, learn how to roll, meet Lita, battle Urbane, install the Pokedex app into the Rodent phone, and learn about Wild Zones in Wild Zone 1. In this game, most Pokemon are obtainable in contained areas known as Wild Zones. There are 20 Wild Zones in the game, which are gradually unlocked while progressing through the story. Each Wild Zone has a set amount of Pokemon to catch, and to complete one we need to register one of each Pokemon in the Pokedex, either by catching it in the zone or triggering evolution. Most of the Pokemon in each zone are common spawns, but there are some zones which have Pokemon that only spawn at night, and Pokemon that are rare spawns, regardless of the time of day. Wild Zone 1 is also where we learn how to catch Pokemon, and once finishing that tutorial I'll caught almost every Pokemon in this zone except one that I'll backtrack to at a later time. I won't bore you with every single Pokemon that I catch, but I will touch on some important ones as I progress through the run. Afterwards, I meet Mabel at the Pokemon Research Lab right outside of Wild Zone 1 and volunteer to complete her survey work, known as research tasks. Mabel has 313 research tasks for you to complete, which are progressively unlocked as you complete them. Completion of her tasks increases your research level and nets you rewards such as TMs, but the final reward is the shiny charm, which is reached at research level 50. Most of the research tasks have to do with catching and evolving Pokemon, but there is one task we need to complete which is going to be a huge grind that I will get into later. Once I leave the lab, I meet Naveen and then return back to the hotel where the day will turn to night, and Team MZ will teach me how the ZA Battle Royale works, which is pretty simple. Battle trainers to gain points and obtain a challenger's ticket. Then find the trainer you need to face for the promotion match. Wait, is that racing construction? Can I go in here? No! For my first promotion match, we meet Zach, the infamous taxi driver who wants to abolish all forms of public transit except taxis, which was no problem for my Mareep and Tepig. At the end of each ranked storyline, the cycle will automatically change to a new in-game day, which shows you how much money you earn each night from the Battle Royale. This is going to be extremely important in the late game where I need to grind for money in order to buy all the clothes in the game. During rank Y, Urbane wants to give me a tour of Prism Tower, a Upon leaving the hotel, we run into Tarragon outside Hotel Z, who informs us that colorful screws are now available to collect and gives us a canary plush as a gift. There are 100 colorful screws to collect in the game, and you can use them to buy canary plushes. Each colored plush is associated with a different in-game buff, which is permanent as the item is categorized as a key item. These plushes can also be upgraded from bronze to silver to gold for an added boost. I don't plan on collecting all of the screws just yet, but for now I'll just be collecting the ones I see on the way to objectives. On the way to Prism Tower, I visit Wildwood Zone 2 to catch most of the Pokemon there and grab a coffee at Nouveau Cafe just outside of Prism Tower, where I meet Vinny, the Quasartico CEO's secretary. After this coffee break, Urbane wants me to meet Emma at Looker Bureau. On the way there, I run into Ivor and the Fist of Justice outside of Wild Zone 3, battle Josie, head into Wild Zone 2 to catch the Pokemon including 2 Red Flower Flabebe and 2 Pikachu, evolve Scatterbug into Spupa, and then finally arrive at Looker Bureau. Emma asked me if we want to help her out with her detective work, which I accept. This is where the player is introduced to 3 of the various side missions we have to complete throughout the game. The side missions in this game are 100% optional, as in you can beat this game without doing any of them except the required 3 during the tutorial. However, these side missions will give you a lot of useful rewards, such as trade evolution items, gift Pokemon, and a lot of cash. After Emma gives you the first 3 side missions to complete, this is the point in the game where fast travel is unlocked. This is going to be the main mode of travel throughout the game, as more and more travel points are registered on the map. I immediately went back to Racing Construction to register that building as a travel point and started tackling the 3 side missions. Side mission 1 teaches me about Alpha Pokemon, which are larger and more aggressive kinds of Pokemon first introduced in Legends Arceus by taking out and catching an Alpha Bunnelby. I also backtracked to Wild Zone 3 to catch an Esper, one of the 2 rare spawns in this zone. Outside of Wild Zone 4 is Side Mission 3, which involves a woman who lost her ring in the cemetery. Since I'm already in Wild Zone 4, I caught almost all the Pokemon here before finding the ring with a Sableye. This is actually the earliest point in the game where you encounter Sableye, and the best place to catch it so I don't have to worry about catching it later in the game. Side Mission 2 is located in a shopping mall, where a woman wants to trade for a Pikachu in exchange for a Heracross. I gave her one of the 2 Pikachu I caught earlier to complete this side mission. After spending a bit of time lost to model my in-game character after one of my favorite TV characters of all time, I went back to Wild Zone 3 and caught a Pancham, the last rare spawn of this zone, to complete it. Wild Zone 3 is done. What do you mean, was that a shiny? Did you hear the sound? Genuinely, you think you heard the sound? Oh my god, which one is it? The first hour 30, I get a shiny. I then backtrack to Wild Zone 1 to catch Weedle, Pidgey, and a Pichu in a Great Ball, completing this zone. I started catching Pokemon in Wild Zone 5, but realized I was a bit underleveled, so I decided to come back to this later and head back to Emma at Looker Bureau. I also evolved Spupa into Vivillon, and Weedle into Kakuna into Beedrill. Emma asks for a battle, and after defeating her, she shows off Mega Evolution to us, during which I am presented with the Rank Y promotion match. This rounds out the tutorial section of the game, which took about 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is far too long. Now that I'm free from tutorial hell, this is where I want to outline my strategy going into this run. During each rank storyline, new wild zones and a number of side missions become available for me to access. Before advancing the story, I would head to the new wild zones to catch the new Pokemon available for completion, and also complete the new side missions that show up on the map. Until I figure out what my party is going to be, I would also have certain Pokemon in my party for passive experience, so I can not only evolve them to fill up more of the Pokedex, but also count them for any evolution related research tasks. These evolutions also count for any Pokemon available in the wild zones, which meant that it would be less Pokemon for me to catch to complete those zones. There are also Pokemon available to catch outside the wild zones, so I would catch those along the way during the run as I run into them. Like with catching Pokemon, I won't go for every side mission I complete, but I'll touch on some of the more important ones, and some of my favorite ones, like side mission 7 involving an angry Chespin. Once we battle the Chespin a few times, it decides to accompany me on my journey. Using some experience candies, I evolved Tepig into Pignite and Mareep into Flaffy, before making my way over to side mission 9. A racing construction worker wants me to complete 3 scaffolding courses in a limited amount of time and beat the current record holder, a wild Froakie. After completing these missions, the worker suggests I take Froakie along on my journey, adding another Kalos starter to the Pokedex. Since the sun set during the side mission, I decided to make my way over to the battle zone and obtain the challenger's ticket really quick. A misconception I kept hearing during the first week of the game's release is that you have to complete the promotion match during the night you obtain the challenger's ticket, which isn't true. Once you obtain your challenger's ticket, you can go and do the promotion batch at any later point in the game. So after obtaining my ticket, I backtracked to a couple wild zones to catch some nighttime spawns and complete those zones. Specifically Wild Zones 2 to catch a Staryu, and Wild Zone 4 to catch a Honedge. Side Mission 8 involves a sick Fennekin which needs help. This woman wants me to go to a herbalist and ask how to cure this Fennekin. After using candies to evolve Fletchling into Fletchinder and Flabebe into Floette, I find the herbalist at a cafe, who then directs me to Wild Zone 5 to find a revitalizing twig. The location of this item is found near the sewer section of this wild zone, where on a rooftop I caught an Abra with a high chance to teleport away. In Wild Zone 5, there are 6 glowing spots to check for the twig. For this side mission specifically, it's always the last spot you check, and then you could just leave to give it to the woman. Before doing so, I caught a Pidgeotto to avoid the work of evolving Pidgey. I'm already evolving one regional bird line, I don't want to do another one. Once cured, Fennekin decides to tag along, which adds the final Kalos starter to the Pokedex. The last thing I wanted to do before the rank Y promotion match was complete Wild Zone 6. On the way there, I caught a yellow flowered Flabebe hanging out on some flowers just outside the Wild Zone gate. If you played this game, you know what awaits you in Wild Zone 6. Oh shit! Oh my god, I forgot about this. While there, I also caught a level 18 Magikarp. Despite already catching one in Wild Zone 2, I decided to catch a stronger Magikarp so I can level up twice in my party and immediately evolve it into a Gyarados. But before that, I used candies to evolve Bellsprout into Weepinbell. With Magikarp in my party, I challenged Yvonne for the rank Y promotion match and defeated her to reach rank X. The next morning, after defeating Naveen in a battle, I'm informed about the rank X promotion match. A couple of new side missions have become available, so I head over to complete those, which includes one very cute side mission involving Budew. I then initiated side mission 12. Remember that red flower and yellow flower Flabebe I caught earlier? Well, they're part of this side mission, where this woman wants to see one of each Flabebe color. There are 5 different variations of Flabebe total. Although I already caught 2 of them, this is one of the longest side missions in the game due to the fact that each Flabebe color are in different locations throughout Lumiose. During side mission 13, the day turned to night, so before heading to the battle zone, I backtracked to Wild Zone 5 to catch the last Pokemon needed to complete it, an Electrike. While in the battle zone, I evolved Gastly into Haunter and Magikarp into Gyarados, and 7 wins later, the challenger ticket was mine. Since there was nothing left for me to do, I immediately headed over to my promotion match to battle a kid who clearly needed humbling. Like, seriously, bro was on cloud 9. The next morning, I talk with Lita before she heads off for dance practice, but she forgets her stuff, so AZ asks me to return them to her. I evolve Bunnelby into Diggersby and Abra into Kadabra. We catch up with Lita to return her stuff, who then challenges us to a battle, and after winning, we're informed about the rank W promotion match, where some new side missions are available to me. This is where I decided to call it for the day, as I was streaming for almost 4 hours at this point. I started day 2 with catching some Pokemon I needed for side missions. Over in this spot are the 3 elemental monkeys Pansear, Panpour, and Pansage hanging out in trees for me to catch. I also backtracked to Wild Zone 5 to catch another Abra I realized I needed for an upcoming side mission, before heading to side mission 17, located just outside of Wild Zone 1 for a shiny Mareep. Remember the elemental monkeys I just caught? Well, this man wants to see them for side mission 18, located near Wild Zone 2, to make the perfect cup of tea. In the Lumiose Museum, a couple of Spupa fans lost a collection of Spupa throughout the museum. Side mission 21 involves finding all 12 Spupa inside the museum to return to the couple. Once done, I'm rewarded with a Spupa of my own, which evolves into a marine pattern Vivillon. Mabel calls me back to the Pokemon Research Lab for side mission 22, where she explains her predecessor wants to entrust me with a Kanto starter Pokemon. I picked Bulbasaur here, as I'll fully evolve into Venusaur at level 32, compared to Charmander and Squirtle, who both fully evolve at level 36. Before heading into the night, I noticed I had 15 colorful screws, so I decided to buy some Canary plushes, specifically the ones related to prize money, increased catching chances, experience, and earning more Mega Shards by breaking Mega Crystals. About 8 minutes of Battle Royale later, I obtained my Challenger's ticket and immediately headed over to Restaurant Lenat to challenge Vintaro for the promotion match. One short battle later, and I'm now rank V. Once leaving Restaurant Lenat, Emma calls to warn me about a Pokemon on loose, which turns out to be Zygarde in its 10% form. After following it, Zygarde drags me to a rooftop to encounter a strange Absol, which then Mega Evolves without a trainer. This is where we are introduced to Rogue Mega Evolution battles. Similar to the Noble Pokemon battles in Legends Arceus, this is a completely different type of boss battle, where we take on a Mega Evolved Pokemon in order to calm it down. The key to beating these battles is to use a Mega Evolved Pokemon yourself. Once the Mega Meter is full, Mega Evolve your Pokemon to deal massive damage and defeat it in battle. Since I don't have a Pokemon capable of Mega Evolving at this point in the game, AZ lends me his Lucario and Mega Ring so I can use Mega Lucario against the Rogue Mega Absol. After defeating a Rogue Mega Pokemon in battle, I obtain its respective Mega Stone. After the battle, the Absol which Mega Evolved decides to join us, adding another Pokemon to the Pokedex. The next morning, Vinny calls Urbane, who wants to meet both of us at Quasarticle HQ. Before doing so, Urbane wants to battle me with the Absol we befriended, which is basically the tutorial of how to use Mega Evolution in normal battles. During this storyline, 4 new Wild Zones and a number of side missions become available. I noticed Froakie is able to evolve, and since I needed a water type for my team, I decided to keep it in my party and evolve it to a Frogadier. Now it's time to tackle some side missions. Side mission 24 involves a boy wanting to trade us a Riolu in exchange for an Abra, and side mission 26 is a battle with a waiter at Restaurant Leia for a Firestone. Also, I decided to add the shiny Esprit I caught during the tutorial to my team for some type diversity. After buying some quick balls at the Pokeball boutique, it was time to visit some more Wild Zones. I caught most of the Pokemon in Wild Zone 7 and then evolved Floette into Florges. Wild Zone 8 gave me a bit of a trouble due to the Alpha Krokorok, but after resetting spawns for a Gible, I decided to come back later for the last one. During the night, I headed back to Wild Zone 7 for a Shuppet and an Audino, completing that zone. Over in Wild Zone 10, I caught 2 Slowpoke and a Watchog before deciding to come back later for the rear spawn. At Quasarticle, Vinny tells us about the Rogue Mega Pokemon issue, where wild Pokemon have been Mega Evolving without a trainer. As such, Quasarticle wants strong Pokemon trainers to help them out, and to do so, he offers a special promotion match to Urbane and I to test our strength and promote us directly to rank F. Before going to obtain a Challenger's ticket, I backtracked to Wild Zone 8 to catch a regular Krokorok, completing that zone. Then, over in Wild Zone 9, I caught a very annoying Carbink and a less annoying Mawile, completing that zone as well. The only zone remaining was Wild Zone 10, which I decided to do later. For now, it was time to earn my Challenger's ticket. During this cycle, I realized it was raining, so I headed over to Vert Sector 9 to catch a Goomy. After evolving Flaffy into Ampharos, I decided to add Drillbur to my main team because I wanted to use an Excadrill. It was now time to face Vinny in the promotion match.
Pignite managed to take care of Vinny and his Mega Drampa.
Once Urbane and I reached rank F, we received intel from Vinny on cases of Rogue Mega Evolution. At this point in the game, each rank storyline will follow a similar pattern. Vinny will give Urbane 3 cases of Rogue Mega Evolution for the team and I to encounter and battle, which are 3 individual main missions. At Hotel Z will be briefed on these battles in a Team MZ meeting. Either before, during, or after these missions, there will be a storyline associated with each rank, which is related to that rank's promotion match. For rank F, we have to battle Slowbro, Camerupt, and Victory Bell. But really quick before the briefing, I headed back to Wild Zone 10 to catch a Tynamo, completing that zone. After the briefing, AZ gives me the Mega Stone associated with the final evolution of my starter, so I decided to use Candies to evolve Pignite into Emboar. With this briefing completed, I can do some more side missions. Side mission 27 at the Pokemon Research Lab involves fossil restoration, so I headed to the Stone Emporium to buy the 3 fossils available in the game. Even though I only needed to restore 1 fossil to complete the side mission, I took the opportunity to revive the other 2 as well, since I needed Amora and Tyrant for a couple side missions later in the game. After a battle to complete side mission 28, I was finally able to evolve my shiny Espurr into a Meowstic, before heading to Restaurant Lenat for a side mission involving multiple battles. There are 4 Gauntlet-style battle side missions, each at a restaurant, and you need to complete all the battles without the ability to heal up your team. For this first one at Restaurant Lenat, there are only 3 battles to do to complete the side mission. With all my objectives complete, it was time to head over to the Victory Bell, where Naveen is waiting for us. The battle itself is pretty simple. I soloed with Mega Emboar to obtain Victory Bell's Megastone and used it again for the Camerupt, but the Slowbro was a different story. I literally had nothing on my team for this battle, so I decided to evolve Chespin into Quilladin and give it some better moves for a better chance. I also evolved Fletchender into Talonflame with Candies, and in place of a Dynamo before heading into the battle. This battle was definitely one of the longest I did, and with the power of healing items, Quilladin managed to defeat it. I started day 3 by heading into a battle zone. During this, Drillbur evolved into Exegil, Frogadier evolved into Greninja, and Quilladin evolved into Chestnut. After earning a challenger's ticket, I decided to play out the rest of the night in the battle zone to earn some more prize medals for cash, before heading back to Hotel Z where Zygarde is waiting for us outside. It challenges me to a battle, and after winning, it gives me a normal pebble. There, I meet L, a character who surely doesn't resemble the previous leader of an evil organization, right? Upon returning to Hotel Z, I learned of the next trainer for the promotion match, Canary, a popular streamer that Naveen happens to be a huge fan of. Lita suggests I battle Naveen, and if I win, he has to help me find Canary for the promotion match, which I do. Naveen tells me we have to enter and win the Canary Quiz Whiz contest in order to ask Canary for a promotion match, but before that, there's a few things I have to do. I initiated side mission 30, where this artist wants to see a Mega Camerupt in battle. We already have the Megastone, but I haven't evolved Numel into Camerupt yet, so I need to do this later. For side mission 33, this man wants to see a Magikarp which is bigger than his extra large Magikarp. In order to complete this, I catch an Alpha Magikarp which will immediately spawn in Wild Zone 2 after initiating this side mission. Afterwards, I used Candies to evolve Numel into Camerupt and headed back to finish side mission 30. For this battle, you don't actually have to win with the Mega Camerupt, you just have to Mega Evolve it and show it off. Then you can swap it out to finish the battle with a different Pokemon. After finishing side mission 30, the same artist will eventually want to see a Mega Sableye and a Mega Medicham in battle for a couple of future side missions.
It was now time to continue the story with Naveen, who helps me cheat to win the Canary Quiz Whiz contest and asks for a promotion match. I'm told to meet Canary at Racine Construction, at which we are given a couple more side missions to do, including side mission 39, which has us trade a Slowpoke to this man who gives us a Galarian one in return. Before heading into Racine Construction, I buy the level 2 gold colored Canary plush, and then head inside to battle Tarragon, who is revealed to be Canary's grandfather. After Greninja handled his Mega Excadrill, we battle Canary herself. Emboar was able to thrash her Mega Electros.
The next morning, Vinny gives us intel on the next trio of rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon, which is Beedrill, Hawlucha, and Banette. But before I head off for the day, Urbane asked me to meet him on the roof to show me the Rotoglide, which is this game's equivalent of the double jump. Although I have new wild zones to visit and new side missions to complete, this is where I decided to hard pivot to collecting all the colorful screws in the map, as many of them you cannot collect without unlocking the Rotoglide. I used this video by Austin John Plays to find the screws, which I'll link in the description along with all the other resources I used for this run. The issue with the colorful screws though is that the map doesn't track which ones you've already picked up, so if you happen to miss even a single colorful screw, you have to check every single location again just to find the one that's missing. During the first day-night cycle, I farmed some Mega Shards to buy the Sableye from Quasartico, and headed over to the battle zone in the evening to grab the challenger's ticket and get that out of the way, where Tynamo evolved into Electric. Once getting the challenger's ticket, I could focus solely on the colorful screws. I then spent the next 2 hours combing through the entire map to find all the colorful screws following the guide.
Uh-oh. These are the last 2 screws on the video.
This hunt for the screws was still worth it though. Besides buying every single Canary plush, I evolved Honedge into Doublade, caught the remaining Flabébé colors, farmed Mega Shards to buy the Exodrite and the Electrosite, found something very special, and caught a Cleffa, a Ralts, a Larvitar, and a Pidgeot. Heading into day 4, I decided to not worry about the last colorful screw for now, as there's a chance I could just run into it while completing story objectives and side missions. While visiting some wild zones, I caught a Furfrou in Wild Zone 11, the first I need for a later side mission, a female and male Snorunt in Wild Zone 12, and an Alpha Trevenant in Wild Zone 13. After evolving Slowpoke into Slowbro, it was time to progress the story. I started with the Beedrill near Hotel Z with Urbane, moving on to the Banette with Naveen, and after evolving my Electrike into Electros, it was time to take on the Hawlucha with Lita. Electros made this Hawlucha fight trivial, awarding me to Megastone.
Once regrouping with Team MZ at Hotel Z, I found out the next opponent for my promotion match, Ivor of the Fist of Justice. Before heading over there, I completed some more side missions, including one with a trainer who wishes to open a fur-free salon. This won't be the last I see of her though, as she wants my help with a number of future side missions. Upon reaching the Fist of Justice, Josie challenges me to a rematch before Ivor arrives, telling me he can't battle me until he finds his sister Gwen, as he relies on her for anything smartphone related. He decides to head over to Looker Bureau to ask Emma for help. This guy is just all tied up. With Emma's help, we found out that Gwen is hiding in the sewers deep underground. The sewers is home to a lot of Pokemon that we need to catch, including Noibat and Scraggy. Navigating through the sewers, we reach a locked gate, which we try to unlock by catching a Klefki, but it unfortunately does not work. After a little destruction of public property, I catch a Skrelp, which I plan on making the last member of my party, and a Litwick. Eventually, we make our way to the end of the sewers and find Gwen, who challenges us to a battle. Once we defeat her, Gwen explains that she hid out in the sewers to avoid Ivor, who is burdening her with the constant complaints about his behavior. After this issue is resolved, I can head back to the Fist of Justice to battle Ivor for the promotion match. On the way there, I start side mission 55, which has to do with a film director requiring one of our Pokemon for his shoot. In this case, he wants a Carvana, but he will show up later requiring other Pokemon for his various film shoots. Once done, I immediately evolve into a Sharpedo. Now, it was time to take on Ivor.
Surprisingly, Electros managed to guide my way to victory against his Mega Failings.
The next morning, I found out that Urbane is in debt to a group called the Rust Syndicate because he borrowed 100 grand to make a video for Hotel Z. Why? I have no idea. But the rest of Team MZ is stuck with dealing with the issue, so Lita asks me to accompany her to the Rust Syndicate headquarters. But first, there's a few things I gotta do. I used candies to evolve Meditite into Medicham and bought its Megastone at the Stone Emporium, which allowed me to complete side mission 32. At Restaurant Leia, side mission 60 has me take on the second battle gauntlet, a 5-course round awarding me with a lot of cash since each battle gives you prize money on top of the cash reward you get from completing the side mission. While completing Wild Zone 14, I caught Heliolisk and moved on to Wild Zone 15 to catch a lot of bugs. Before I could finish off 15, the sun started to set, so I headed over to the battle zone to obtain the challenger's ticket, and stuck around a bit longer to earn some prize medals for cash. When the night was winding down, I went back to Wild Zone 15 to finish it off and found something even better. No way! Oh my god, please. Yes! I can't believe it. What I just caught was a Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo, and I was very excited about that. Let me explain. Side mission 98 in the late game has a woman who wants to see a Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo, and she explicitly states that she does not want an alpha. You can see the size classification in the summary screen of a Pokemon, but to identify a Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo, you have to look at the Pokemon itself. Additionally, Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo has a unique cry, which is how I was able to identify it right away. Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo is only available at night in Wild Zone 15. I'm not sure what the odds are for the Jumbo to spawn, but in my first playthrough, I believe it took me about half an hour to find it by repeatedly fast traveling to Wild Zone 15. Anyways, after the shock of catching the Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo this early, I went back to Wild Zone 15 to catch the Scolipede, completing the zone. I started day 5 by meeting up with Lita at the Rust Syndicate. After defeating the grunt standing guard outside the building, we were challenged by Philippe, second in command of the Rust Syndicate.
Mega Skarmy and his steel types were no match for my Emboar.
Philippe lets us both in to meet Corbeau, the leader of the Rust Syndicate, who basically employs us to pay off the insane interest on Urbane's loan in exchange for doing some odd jobs around Lumiose. But we have to wait for Corbeau to call us, so in the meantime we head back to Hotel Z and receive intel on the next 3 rogue mega battles, Mawile, Barbaracle, and Ampharos. Before taking on the next trio of rogue mega battles, I help out the Furfrou trainer again with side mission 62 and initiate side mission 63, where this man wants an extra large Go-Goat. You can give him an Alpha Go-Goat, which is found in Wild Zone 12, or evolve an Alpha Skidoo, found in Wild Zone 3. After completing this batch of side missions, I started to take on the rogue megas, starting with Barbaracle. Excadrill was easily able to take care of Barbaracle, and Emboar took care of Mawile. Before a quick rematch with Gwyn on the way to the third battle, I took a trip back to Wild Zone 12 and found an Alpha Go-Go. Then Excadrill took care of the Ampharos, and I gave the man an Alpha Go-Go to complete side mission 63. Regrouping back at Hotel Z, Corbeau finally calls to give me the jobs he wants me to do, but before heading out, there's a few things to take care of. While completing side missions, I caught a Dratini atop Restaurant Lana, evolved Skrelp into Dragalge, engaged in a sky battle, investigated a Gumi who frankly just wanted to vibe on a bench, and used a Shuppet to prevent a divorce. Now it's time to tackle the jobs Corbeau wants me to do, which involve dealing with some Pokemon who are living in a newly rented apartment, clearing out Mega Shards in the sewers, and dealing with some casual elitism in the form of Pokemon battles. In between these odd jobs, I also caught the Alpha Avalugg in Wild Zone 12. Eventually, I made up with Corbeau at the Rust Syndicate, who tells us that he is clearing the interest on the debt in exchange for a battle, and coincidentally, he's announced to be the trainer for the next promotion match.
Excadrill, now my ace, easily took care of Corbeau and his Mega Scolipede.
Corbeau stays the night at Hotel Z and leaves Urbane a huge tip in the morning, which just so happens to be the full amount of the loan he took out to give to Philippe. Once they leave, AZ gives Lita and Naveen Mega Rings of their own, and they challenge me to a battle. Before heading over though, there's a couple of new Wild Zones to visit and some new side missions to tackle. This man lost his Galarian Stunfisk in Wild Zone 11, who ends up gifting it to us after finding it. At the Sushi High Roller, it's time for another gauntlet of battles. It's also 5 battles in a row, but this time it's a group of 3 Pokemon to take on per battle. Afterwards, I decided to catch some Pokemon. I headed over to Wild Zone 16 and caught a Phalanx, but opted to come back later for the rare spawns. So I moved on to Wild Zone 17, which has a Pyroar and a Skarmory for me to catch. Pyroar should be pretty simple, but Skarmory is actually extremely difficult to catch, even with the level 3 catching Canary plush. However, if you've played this game, then you know what's coming in Wild Zone 17. Seriously? The solution is Lampent. Only spawns in night. I don't know how I missed this. I genuinely don't know how I missed this. Now that I got every last colorful screw in the game, the construction worker tells me that my reward is at my room at Hotel Z, which is a giant Canary plush. Failing the Skarmory was pretty frustrating, so I put it on hold for now and headed over to the battle court to battle Lita, who hasn't evolved her Staryu yet, and Naveen with a Mega of his own. As a post-battle celebration, we decide to chill out over at Cafe Nouveau, where we're repulsed by Laban, a representative of the Society of Battle Connoisseurs. She invites Urbane and I to a gathering hosted by Lady Jacinthe, the leader of the SBC. Lita suggests we get some new clothes for the occasion, but before that, there's a few things to do first. For side mission 75, I battle a girl with unusual Pokemon, the Galarian Slowpoke evolutions. After defeating her Galarian Slowbro and Galarian Slowking, she awards us with both of the items required to evolve Galarian Slowpoke to one of its evolutions. After saving this Delibird from an insane Garbodor and teaching some kids about Mega Evolution, I let the day turn to night and headed over to the battle zone to grab the Challenger's ticket. Then I returned to Wild Zone 17 to see if I can catch a Skarmory. Please catch. Thank you. I went back to Wild Zone 16 for the nighttime spawns and found out they were a Starmie and a Barbaracle. Instead of trying to catch both of them, I evolved Staryu into Starmie and fast traveled back to 16 to catch the Barbaracle, completing the zone. As the night turned to day, I headed over to the clothing store for some new clothes. Fun fact, this store is the same store in X and Y that wouldn't let you in if you weren't stylish enough. Am I still salty about that? Maybe. Anyways, to prove ourselves worthy of wearing the store's clothes, the employee outside the store challenges us to a battle, where we have the extra condition of Mega Evolving a Pokemon. After defeating her, she gifts us the clothes, which we actually don't have to wear for the story.
Listen, if it's not the dress Kim wore to the club, wore her prom dress, both from So the Drama movie, then my character ain't wearing it. Before heading into the hotel, I took this opportunity to evolve Gumi into Sliggoo into Goodra since it was raining. Once inside, we meet Lady Jacinth and find out that the gathering is in fact a tournament, and all the Mega Evolution trainers we faced earlier are also participating. However, Urbane gets a call from Vinny in the middle of the event, and then we just leave. This was the point in the game on my first playthrough where I decided that I just don't like Urbane. And this was for good reason, because during the briefing of the next trio of Rogue Megas, Jacinth shows up uninvited in the middle of the meeting and demands we return to the tournament. I'm noting down trespassing for her list of crimes here. After being briefed on the Frostlass, Altaria, and Venusaur, I took care of some side missions except one. I initiated side mission 83, where you have to battle this Haunted trainer with a single Pupitar in your party. I'm not sure about anyone else, but this was one of the most difficult side missions in the game, which took me multiple attempts to do on my first playthrough during the post-game. Knowing what I was getting myself into, I decided to put this off for later. For the Rogue Mega Battles, I took care of Venusaur first with Emboar and learned that Jacinth is also a stalker, and closed out the day by defeating the Altaria with Excadrill. Then, I started day 6 by taking on the Frostlass. I took care of Frostlass with Emboar and regrouped a Team MZ at Hotel Z, where Jacinth traps us in a Jacinth zone in order to get us to return to the tournament. Does this count as kidnapping? I battled the 2 SPC members before taking on Laban. The real Laban. Mega Dragalge and her chaotic vibes were taken care of by Greninja. After explaining that Urbane and I were literally on the way back to the tournament, I get the announcement for my next promotion match. Coincidentally, against Jacinth. There's absolutely no way she influenced this promotion match, right? I helped out the Furfrou trainer once more and gave this taxi driver her first fare before heading back to the hotel for the tournament. I won my way all the way to the finals, before Zygarde and Elle interrupt the tournament, where Elle explains that Zygarde wants to battle me again in order to form a strong bond. Jacinth has no issue with this and adds him to the bracket, so I battle Zygarde again, but this time in his 50% form. Once I defeat Zygarde, Elle says he will collect the remaining Zygarde cells and asks me to become a trainer worthy enough to fight at Zygarde's side. Finally, it was time to fight Jacinth. Excadrill cleared Jacinth's team with ease. The next morning, AZ tells us that something is wrong with Prism Tower, and the only one capable of stopping it is Mega Floette and the strongest Mega Evolution user. Vinny asks Urbane and I to meet him at Quasartico for a meeting, but not before taking care of some things. During side mission 89, involving a thieving Emolga, I caught a Hawlucha on a rooftop, and then headed over to Vinny at Quasartico, where President Jet is waiting for us. Jet explains that after the ultimate weapon was fired 5 years ago, property values tanked and the urban redevelopment plan was made. However, after Quasartico stepped in to make the plan a reality, they discovered Prism Tower was emitting a peculiar energy, with the Rogue Mega Pokemon issue following soon after. This being the reason that the ZA Battle Royale was created in the first place, to find the strongest Mega Evolution user. Before leaving, I bought Dragalge's Megastone along with 2 others, and headed over to Wild Zone 18, where I easily caught the Alpha Lopunny with a Quick Ball. And after some insane vibes, I caught the Alpha Salamence to avoid a long evolution process. Then, I caught the Altaria on the roof, leaving the last Pokemon left, which is a nighttime spawn. So, I headed over to Wild Zone 19, where I caught one of the many Eevee I need for its evolutions. Drampa is also available here in the day, but it doesn't spawn at this time, so I need to come back and catch it during the early morning. In the evening, I went over to the Battle Zone to grab the Challenger's ticket and returned to Wild Zone 19 to catch a Clefairy. Once the sun rose, I caught a Drampa, completing the zone. Then I changed the cycle to night to catch the last Pokemon I need in Wild Zone 18, Noivern. The DLC, but if they have new calls, then I'll definitely consider. Shut up! Oh my god! I then caught Noivern, completing the zone. Back at Hotel Z, I'm briefed on the next trio of Rogue Megas, Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Starmie. But wait, remember that woman who wanted the 5 different Flabébé colors? She caught each version for herself and evolved them all to Floette, and wants a battle for side mission 51.
After this, I headed over to the Dragonite. I actually struggled with this battle, but eventually managed to defeat it. After using Exegel to take care of the Tyranitar, I am headed over to meet up with Lita, where the Rust Syndicate is already investigating the Starmie. One quick rematch with Philippe later, who gives Lita a Water Stone to finally evolve her Staryu, it's time to take on the Starmie. Eelektross easily took care of this one. Upon returning to Hotel Z, I'm informed that my next promotion match is against someone named Grisham. Since I have no idea who that is, I have to enlist Emma for help. On the way there, I started attempting side mission 95, where this ghost type trainer wants to battle me with only ghost types of my team. However, I realized I was not prepared enough for this battle and decided to put it off for now. Just outside of Wild Zone 15 is the Pumpkaboo trainer who wanted the Jumbo Variety Pumpkaboo, which I was easily able to give her since I randomly found it the other day. Over at Loker Bureau, Emma agrees to help me, but asks for a battle first as the info she has could potentially put me in danger. After defeating her, Emma tells us about Team Flare and what happened 5 years ago with Lysander and the Ultimate Weapon. She directs us to Mabel to learn more info, who explains her own ties to Team Flare. Mabel isn't sure why Grisham joined the ZA Battle Royale in the first place, so she tells us to go over to Nouveau Cafe to learn more. On the way there, I initiated Side Mission 100, which is a mission that can only be done at night and will be doing a bit later. Then, at the cafe, the employee there reveals himself to be Grisham, the leader of Team Flare Nouveau. The waitress there, Griselle, sends us a location to learn the truth about Team Flare, which is actually the now closed down Lysander Cafe. However, before heading inside, Griselle demands a battle.
Greninja handled this battle easily, no Mega Stone required.
Inside, Grisham explains why he joined the ZA Battle Royale, starting with Team Flare, which was initially created as a place for people to come together and help one another in order to achieve a more beautiful world. However, its leader, Lysander, grew disillusioned with humanity over time, and chose to use the Ultimate Weapon in order to reduce the number of people in the world. Because the Ultimate Weapon was AZ's creation, Grisham blames him for Lysander's descent into madness and his decision to use it, forcing the remaining members in Team Flare to become outcasts in society. He opens the entrance to Lysander Labs so that we can learn the truth for ourselves, which happens to be the home of many wild Pokemon. In order to get to the bottom floor, Mabel calls me and tells me to find the elevator key, during which we will be catching the Pokemon here. Luckily, I've already caught most of the Pokemon here except for 3, Houndoom, Manectric, and Beldum. If you've been playing Pokemon for as long as I have, then you know that Beldum is notoriously one of the most difficult non-legendary Pokemon to catch in the entire franchise.
Depending on what level Blue Canary plush you have, Beldum has an absurdly low catch rate at rank B, ranging from 10% if you do not own any plush to 18% if you own a level 3 Blue Canary plush. So, catching it here on the first visit to Lysander Labs would be huge.
Please catch. Please catch. Please catch. Please catch. Thank you. Eventually, I find the elevator key and make my way down to level 3 and learn the origin of the Ultimate Weapon. Zygarde shows up along with Elle, who reveals that along with the Ultimate Weapon, AZ made another device that is hidden within Prism Tower. Elle intended to activate both devices, but because the second device needed AZ's Floette to even use it, he abandoned that plan because no one knew where Floette was. He further explains that after he found the Ultimate Weapon 5 years ago, Zygarde saved all living beings in the area, including him, and as a result, he lost most of his memory. Elle theorizes that the device in Prism Tower awakened because of the firing of the Ultimate Weapon, sensing danger, and that AZ's Floette is the only one that can shut it down. Returning to Grisham, he asked me to bring AZ's Floette so that he can shut down the device in Prism Tower and restore the reputation of those forced to be associated to Team Flare by birth. But before making a decision, he asked me to speak with AZ and learn the truth from him. And I started day 7 with just that. AZ explains that during the Great War of Kalos 3,000 years ago, his beloved Floette was sent to the front lines where she was killed. Grieving, he created a machine to revive Floette, but he was still angry for what happened to her, so he turned that machine into the Ultimate Weapon and fired it off to end the war. However, his Floette was so heartbroken of the man AZ became that she left him, in which AZ wandered alone for 3,000 years to find her. During his journey, a man of great power asked him for his help to protect Kalos. Thus, he created Ange, deep within Prism Tower, as an attempt to atone for his sins. This machine was never used because Kalos is currently living in a time of peace, but AZ also theorizes that the energy spilling out of Prism Tower is a result of the firing of the Ultimate Weapons 5 years prior. leading to Rogue Mega Evolution. And the only way to stop the tower from going rogue is for the strongest Mega Evolution user to Mega Evolve Floette. AZ also reveals that his Floette cannot evolve, and theorizes it is because she was revived using the lives of so many other Pokemon. After learning the truth, it was time to face off against Grisham and tell him I have no intention of handing over Floette to him. On the way there, I initiated Side Mission 103, one of my favorite side missions in the game, from the Furfrou Trainer, which I decided to hold off until the post-game and will explain there. I also initiated Side Mission 105, the second side mission from the film director, which is another one we can only complete at night. With that, I headed over to Nouveau Cafe for my promotion match against Grisham, who I definitely didn't think he was going to Mega Evolve his Charizard to a Mega Charizard Z. Upon his defeat, I finally reached the elusive rank A. At dinner that night, Urbane tells me that he also conveniently reached rank A. Buddy, I'm gonna need to know who you battle because it definitely wasn't just Sant and Grisham. Then, in the middle of the night, everyone is awoken by an explosion, with Prism Tower on the verge of going rogue. Before heading over to Centrico Plaza though, it's time to do the side mission that can only be completed at night, as well as start an extra one which I was saving for this moment. At this point in the game, the day-night cycle is permanently set to night until you progress the story. Of the 5 side missions I have left, 2 of them can be done at this time, with one I will be starting soon after. First, I headed over to Wild Zone 4 and gave the film director the Alpha Trevenant I caught earlier for Side Mission 105. Side Mission 100 is a gathering of the Starmie, where you join this group with a Starmie of your own at night to send messages through space. This is worth the time loss. Look at him run! It was now time to head over to Restaurant Le Wow for the last gauntlet of battles, a 10-course banquet with no heals. I initially wanted to do this in the post-game, but this gives so much experience and cash, I opted to do it now before the climax of the game. During my first playthrough, this side mission took me about 8 attempts in the post-game, so I was a bit anxious it would take the same amount of time. However, I managed to complete the gauntlet on my 4th try. Now I'm going to immediately Earthquake. Yes! Ooh, 4th try. Over at Centrico Plaza, I'm forced to battle Urbane to see who is the best Mega Evolution user to Mega Evolve Floette and stop Prism Tower from going rogue. Even though I'm deemed the strongest Mega Evolution user, Urbane insists that he go with Floette and that I team with Zygarde in case things go south. Urbane Mega Evolves Floette and heads up to the tower to shut it off, which he does succeed at first. And, well, let's just say things do go south. Lumiose is completely overtaken by Hyper Rogue Ange Floette, and with that, many wild Pokemon start Mega Evolving on their own that we have to battle. During an impromptu Team MZ meeting with Canary, Ivor, Corbeau, and Jassons joining in, a plan is made where I need to meet up with each of them who will help me clear a path to meet up with Zygarde. On the way, I have to battle Rogue Mega Pokemon 3 at a time. Eventually, I do make it over to Zygarde, who leads me over to where L's waiting for me. Since L collected all the Zygarde cells, Zygarde can transform into its complete form in order to help me take on the tower. This fight is pretty simple from the player's point of view. There's 2 flowers that attack you, and you have to take them both out. After you do, you can interact with Zygarde to launch an attack on this tower. Then you do this 2 more times, the final time being forced to use Corn Forcer. And that's it. I thought this was a pretty unique battle and appreciate that Game Freak is trying to do something different here, but I wish the flowers changed in between phases to make it more difficult. You also don't need to use a different attack for Zygarde after phase 2, you can just use the same attack, so I used 1000 arrows twice to save time, but the third one you're locked into Corn Forcer no matter what. However, the battle is not over. After celebrating our apparent victory, Hyper Rogue Ange Floette charges up one more attack, Light of Ruin. It is then we discover that the pebble given to us by Zygarde is actually its Mega Stone. After Mega Evolving Zygarde, Hyper Rogue Ange Floette fires off the Light of Ruin, in which Zygarde unleashes Nihil Light to successfully save Lumiose from this natural disaster. And with that, that's credits for the main game of Legends ZA after about 22.5 hours. I wasn't expecting to finish the main game this soon, especially since I felt it took me longer to get to this point of the game on my first playthrough. But I managed to finish the main game with 156 Pokemon registered in the Pokedex, 19 Wild Zones completed, 37 main missions completed, 103 side missions completed, and all 100 colorful screws collected. One funeral scene, and sometime after the crisis later, I awaken Hotel Z to a gift Lucario left behind by AZ. Vinny calls us all over to the Centrico Plaza reopening ceremony so we can tell Jet what our wish should be, since Urbane and I are both rank A. However, before heading over, there's now a lot of side missions on the map to check out. I meet this waiter outside of Wild Zone 17 for side mission 114 who wants a Skarmory feather to gift to a top class chef. This side mission is similar to the Fennekin one, where there's a bunch of interactable glowing spots and only one of them has the item you're looking for. However, unlike the Fennekin side mission, the item you're looking for is always on the roof, so you can just ignore everything else and head up the ladder. After a quick battle with Skarmory, the mission is complete. Outside of Quasartico, I initiate side mission 108 and put it off for later because I'm planning on completing it with another related side mission. Also in that vicinity is the film director who wants a Tyrantum for his newest shoot as part of side mission 115. Like with the Honedge Pupitar side mission, another difficult side mission is 107 where you have to battle this insanely strong Pikachu trainer. This is also something that took me a while to complete on my first playthrough, so I'm going to tackle this a bit later. This Bergmite trainer wants a giant Avalugg so that all of her Bergmite can sit on top of it. Using the Alpha Avalugg we caught earlier fulfills her request. This girl wants me to use an Aurorus and battle her brother with a Tyrantum to convince him to buy her a Sail Fossil for side mission 116, one of the last missions I'll be doing. It was now time to take on the Pikachu trainer. Using candies, I leveled my Pikachu up to level 50 and taught it Dig, Protect, Thunder Punch, and Play Rough, and boosted its defenses with Iron and Zinc. The reason why this battle is so difficult is because this kid's Pikachu knows Dig and Protect. If you stall to Protect, it will immediately Dig, and since you can't protect its attack, it will one-shot you. The strat is to use Dig immediately when it does, so that you'll always be able to pop out first and hit it. After that, it's knowing when to bait out the Protect and Iron Tail. After some losses, I replaced Thunder Punch with Iron Tail and gave Pikachu some protein to increase its attack. Through a lot of trial and error, I managed to defeat this trainer and earn myself a Light Ball. Using the same Pikachu, I evolved it to a Raichu to start side mission 108 with the Alolan Raichu trainer, who wants to battle me with a single Cantonian Raichu. After defeating her, she trades me her Alolan Raichu in exchange for my Cantonian one. With those last two side missions done, I headed over to Centrigo Plaza for the reopening ceremony. Prism Tower has been turned into Wild Zone 20, and after experiencing the illusion of choice, I'm informed that the ZA Battle Royale is going to continue and rebranded as the Infinite ZA Royale, which I'll touch on later. For now, I head into Wild Zone 20, which not only contains the other two Kanto starters and the other two starters for this game, but also two random alpha Pokemon under the remains of the tower. These alphas are unique because they have the possibility to be stone evolutions, saving time when evolving. However, the alphas that appear are completely random, so resetting spawns to avoid evolutions would take more time than save in my opinion. For now, I caught a Charmander, Hippowdon, Scrafty, Roserade, Malamar, Alpha Chandelure, Chikorita, Squirtle, Alpha Flareon, Gardevoir, and Aggron. Totodile was giving me a bit of a headache, so I started day 8 by heading into the battle zone to obtain a challenger's ticket in the Infinite ZA Royale. This works the same way as the original ZA Battle Royale, except there are no ranks, and after obtaining a challenger's ticket, we battle a random trainer for a reward match. There are also 3 battle zones per night instead of 1, so you can easily move from zone to zone to battle more trainers. I'm going to be spending a lot of time here because one of Mabel's research tasks is to win a whopping 1,000 battles in the game, and you can't hit research level 50 without completing it. When I first hit the post game, I decided to check how many Pokemon battles I've won for Mabel's research, which is only 241 battles, so I have a long ways to go. Once getting the challenger's ticket, I head to Quasartico for the reward match. I can't believe the game really said, okay, Zach's your first reward match, and you think oh, he's gonna come back with a really strong team now. But then when you face him, it's the same Pokemon. After completing just one reward match, Lita asks us to drop whatever we are doing and hightail it back to Hotel Z. There, we meet El, who tells us more of his memory came back, along with the existence of the 2 legendary Pokemon of Kalos, Xerneas and Yveltal. Naveen suggests we ask people with ties to Team Flare about them, Mabel and Grisha. I head to the Pokemon Research Lab first to talk to Mabel about Xerneas. She mentioned some strange readings of alpha Pokemon which may be tied to Xerneas, so she asked me to investigate the alphas at Wild Zones 3, 5, and 9. These Pokemon can be caught or defeated, but I wanted to catch all of them to avoid some evolutions if possible. I unfortunately failed to catch the Steelix in Wild Zone 3, but I managed to catch the Gallade in Wild Zone 5 and the Pangoro in Wild Zone 9. I returned to Maple, who informs me that Xerneas is approaching Limios and on track to appear at Wild Zone 11. This is where I'm going to outline the strat for the postgame. I'm going to be saving the legendary Pokemon for the very end and finishing off every other main mission, side mission, research stack, and purchases before then. This is what I did for my main playthrough as well, because I thought ending with the 1000 battles would be anticlimactic. After talking to Mabel about Xerneas, I went back to Wild Zone 20 and caught the Totodile. With this, all 20 Wild Zones were complete. While here, I also managed to catch an Alpha Tyranitar, avoiding yet another long evolution grind. Next, I decided to catch some key Pokemon I need for both the Pokedex and side missions. I caught the Alpha Abomasnow in Wild Zone 12, the Alpha Gourgeist in Wild Zone 15, some more Furfrou in Wild Zone 19, another Eevee I need for its evolutions, and at night, an Alpha Banette in Wild Zone 15. I then headed to the Battle Zone for a Challenger's ticket. My routine is going to be switching up a lot during the post-game, at which I want to outline some main objectives I need to accomplish. At 15 reward battle wins, a main mission completes, and at 20 reward battle wins, a side mission unlocks. One of the first things I want to complete is the Pokedex, so I'll be multitasking both here. During the day cycle, I'll be doing Pokedex related tasks, and during the night cycle, I'll be strictly focusing on battles unless stated. As mentioned in the beginning of this video, one of the things I accomplished during my main playthrough was buying every single clothing item in the game. To do this, you need over $7 million to buy out all the shops. Because of this, the Infinite ZA Battle Royale would be the best strat to get a lot of money. I'm not sure if this is the optimal strat, this is what I thought would be the best as I'm multitasking a lot of things together. After obtaining my Challenger's ticket, I faced Grizel in the reward match, and then headed back to the Battle Zone to close out the night. The last Pokemon I needed to catch were the Eevee, so I spent the next morning catching one in Wild Zone 19, before pivoting to this rooftop in Magenta Sector 9. For some reason, the Eevee just refused to spawn in Wild Zone 19 after multiple fast travels, and I had better success on this rooftop, especially since there was a bench I used to reset the time of day for spawns. But I also did check Wild Zone 19 after the rooftop to see if the Eevee would respawn there. Eventually, I managed to catch all the Eevee I needed, which meant that it was now time to evolve most of the Pokemon I needed to evolve. I registered Vaporeon, Clefable, Jolteon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Aegislash, Simisear, Bayleaf, Meganium, Charmeleon, Charizard, Wartortle, Blastoise, Croconaw, Feraligatr, Metang, Metagross, Victreebel, Simisage, Helios, Simipour, and Galarian Slowking in the Pokedex. After a bittersweet goodbye to a Gengar, I headed into the Battle Zone with a Larvitar holding a Lucky Egg in my party for passive experience. For all the Pokemon who need passive experience to evolve, I'll make sure to have them hold the Lucky Egg so that they can gain experience faster. With the Challenger's ticket in hand and Larvitar being able to evolve into Pupitar, I swapped it out for Fennekin and faced Lita for my reward match. While grinding for another Challenger's ticket that same night, I evolved Fennekin into Braxton into Delphox, Bulbasaur into Ivysaur into Venusaur, and Ralts into Kirlia. For the second Challenger's ticket of the night, I faced off against Tarragon and returned to the Battle Zone, ending the night with 26 wins. It was now time for me to face off against the Honedge trainer using a single Pupitar. Before heading in, I beat Pupitar's defense with Iron, special defense with Zinc, and taught it Earthquake, Iron Defense, Crunch, and Protect. This battle took a lot of trial and error on my first playthrough, but thanks to these new strats which I definitely didn't do the first time, I managed to beat this trainer first try. After this battle, I re-attempted side mission 95, where I need to battle this ghost type trainer using only ghost type Pokemon on my own. I overleveled a Snorunt before evolving it into a Frostlass, changed up its moveset, and gave it its Mega Stone. With Mega Frostlass and the two Gengar initially used for backup, I managed to defeat this trainer, rounding out this day for me. I started day 9 by doing all of the trade evolutions. The first few I used trade codes created by Austin John Plays in this video, and for the rest, someone from my community offered to help me complete them. Thank you so much, Natalia, you're a real one. I was able to register Alakazam, Machamp, Scizor, Steelix, Slurpuff, and Aromatisse into the Pokedex. The friendship evolutions are by far the easiest they've ever been. Give your Pokemon a Soothe Bell and sit at a cafe 3 times. That's it! I was able to do this for Sylveon and Espeon during the day. For Umbreon, you can hit the friendship level required to evolve during the day and then hold off and evolve it at night. For Yveltal, I talked to Grisham at Nouveau Cafe, who directs us to Quasartico. Vinny explains that a flying object identified as Yveltal is heading towards the city, In order to deal with it, I have to use their battle simulator and rematch some of the rogue megas I previously defeated. I decided to do these now so some of the remaining Pokemon which need to evolve can gain passive experience. After rematching Hawlucha, Victreebel, and Tyranitar, Vinny informs me that Yveltal has arrived and heading to the roof of one of the shopping malls, but that's for the very end. Checking the list of research tasks, the only ones remaining besides the Pokédex completion task were the 1000 battles, smashing Mega Crystals, chilling on benches, and the various catching tasks. It was time to switch up my routine. There is one research task dedicated to each Pokemon type, which you need to catch 50 Pokemon of. These tasks can be done faster by catching dual types. If you catch a dual type Pokemon, that will count for the catching task associated for both its typing. For example, catching a Litleo will count for catching fire types and catching normal types. My strat was to do the catching during the day by hitting up various wild zones and sewers and continue with battling during the night. After the first day-night cycle of this new routine, I evolved Tyrunt into Tyranitar in order to complete side mission 115 and continued on. One day cycle of catching later, I evolved Amora into Aurorus and headed to the battle zone. During this, I evolved Clauncher into Cloyster, Gible into Gabite into Garchomp, Bagon into Shieldon, and Vanillite into Vanillish into Vanillux, ending the night with over 320k in cash earned. Using my Aurorus, I was able to battle the Tyranitar trainer in front of the Stone Emporium and defeat him, completing side mission 116, leaving me with only one side mission left. I started day 10 with the intention of completing side mission 103, facing the Furfrou League. Furfrou trainers form their own Pokemon League where they can only use Furfrou. There's a Elite Four member at each of the major restaurants, and upon defeating them, you face the champion, and this has to be done with only a team of Furfrou, hence why I caught so many of them. This is probably my favorite side mission in the game. It's so fun and a huge breather from the monotonous grind I'm currently going through for these research tasks and battles. Also, during my first playthrough, I misread the criteria and thought you only needed to use one Furfrou. So even though the Elite Four was a piece of cake, I made the champion battle even harder than it already was by only using one Furfrou, so I didn't want to make the same mistake here. After a few tries and a lot of trial and error, I was able to defeat the champion, taking care of the penultimate side quest. My routine was going pretty well at this point, but I realized until much later that this strat had one flaw: money. Don't forget, I need over $7 million to buy all the clothes in the game, and I would run out of repeat balls fast while catching all these Pokemon. Because I was buying so many repeat balls in a single day cycle, I was basically spending all the money I would be earning from the previous night, which meant that I wasn't gaining any money. So I readjusted my strategy. Buy 70 repeat balls during the day and use them all up. Then, change the cycle to night and grind out battles. Eventually, I got to 14 reward match wins and was able to get the 15th by challenging Urbane with his Mega Floette. After defeating him, we're approached by Emma, who asks us to follow her into a guy's article as she has solved the mystery of who Urbane is looking for. It turns out it's Jet, who is Urbane's maternal grandmother. Jet explains that her daughter, Urbane's mother, developed the holotech which is used for the wild zones and battle zone barriers. However, Jet and Urbane's mother had a disagreement with where the company was heading, and so she left. She ended up doing some work for Team Flare before burning herself out and leaving for an unknown region, where she eventually passed away. As an attempt to atone for what happened, Jet resigns as CEO of Quizarticle due to the poor handling of the rogue Megas and Prism Tower, and asks Urbane to take over in her place. Urbane then asks me to break the news to Lita and Naveen and entrust Azufla in our care along with her Megastone. This permanently ends main mission 39. Some more catching and battle grinding later, and I decide to end the day with 227 Pokemon registered in the Pokedex, 16 reward match wins, and 472 out of the 1000 battles done. Honestly, day 11 was more of the same, catching during the day and battling at night. But this was the day where I finally finished off all of the catching tasks, the last one being the fighting type one, which meant that I could focus solely on the battles and money for now. I did have the Mega Shards left to do, but I wanted to prioritize money for the clothes, and I had just under $3 million at this point. At the end of day 11, I finished with 19 reward match wins, 581 out of the 1000 battles done, and just under $4 million in my pocket. The main goal for day 12 was to get my 20th reward match win, which I immediately got to work on. Oh my god. Get the hell back here. After half an hour of battles, it was time for my 20th reward match against Vinny. After defeating him and claiming the rewards, the final side mission will appear on the map at Hotel Richisme, which is another tournament organized by Jacinthe, where you only battle her. Insane vibes. So after battling and defeating her 4 times, she gives you the ability to battle her as many times as you want and a whopping $300,000 as a reward. With this, I wanted to test something. I set a 20-minute timer on my phone and tracked how many times I would beat her to see how much I would earn in that limited amount of time to compare it to how much I would be making per night from the Battle Royale. Unfortunately, I only battled her 11 times and made about $89,000 in the 20 minutes, which is significantly less than how much I was making per night from the Battle Royale. So I decided to stick to my strategy of grinding the Battle Royale for both battles and money. People give PlayStation a lot of flack for oh yeah, PlayStation has no games, why are they making it cross timed exclusive? But what? There's a shiny. Is it a Fletchling again? Yes. I ended day 12 with 729 out of the 1000 battles done and $5.6 million. Day 13, I wanted to be the day where I buy every single piece of clothing in the game, and so after over 2.5 hours of grinding, I made it up to $7.1 million, which meant it was time to go shopping. $5, $10. I'm short. I can't afford this store. So, let me explain. When I was calculating how much money I needed to buy all the clothes, I copied all the data from Cerebee's trainer customization page for Legend ZA and pasted it into one massive Google Sheets document. Then, I did sum of all rows just for the price column, and it gave me just over $7 million total. but I guess something must have went wrong with copying and pasting because the number I actually needed was not the number I had. Thankfully, it was only just one more shop, and it was one of the more affordable ones, so one more night cycle of battling will net me the money I needed. However, the money grind did not stop there, as I decided to pivot to collecting all of the Megastones in the game. 16 Megastones are obtained after the Rogue Mega Battles, 12 Megastones can be bought with Pokédollars at the Stone Emporium, 31 Megastones can be bought with Mega Shards at Quasartico HQ, and 3 are obtained through story progression. Although you can buy all the Megastones at the Stone Emporium immediately after defeating the Rogue Mega Absol, only a small selection is available at Quasartico, and the rest become available as the story progresses. I've already bought a number of Megastones at Quasartico, so now it's a matter of farming Mega Shards to buy the rest. As for the ones at the Stone Emporium, I need another $860,000 to buy all of those, so I adjusted my routine by farming Mega Shards during the day and focusing on battles at night. On the topic of Megastones, real quick, this is also where I want to address the ranked battles. This game is an online ranked battle mode where you can battle other trainers online to earn rewards. 3 of these rewards are the Megastones for Greninja, Delphox, and Chestnut. As of the day of this recording, the online ranked battles are the only way to obtain these Megastones. After discussing it with my chat, I decided to not include these as part of 100% because it's locked behind a paywall. To drive this point home, I'm also not going to be counting the extra side missions to obtain the Megastones for Diancie and Mewtwo, and I also didn't redeem the free rolls with Gardevoir's Megastone. All of these gifts are redeemable via Mystery Gift. There's a few spots I can reload to farm a bunch of Mega Shards. This alleyway behind Restaurant Leyel, this rooftop and this rooftop both in Wild Zone 9, and the rooftops and this courtyard both behind Hotel Z. The weird thing about Mega Shards though is that they cap at 999. If you get more than that amount, it just won't count towards your inventory. So you have to be diligent with spending the shards before you reach the cap. With my new routine in place, I earned more than enough money during the next night cycle to buy out the last clothing store. Okay, that was actually a lot of money that I needed. And that's it. That's all the clothes in the game. Now it's time to focus on the last remaining tasks, the Megastones and the 1000 battles, but I decided to prioritize the Megastones first to complete some of the research tasks associated with them. Here we go. That is the last Megastone at Quasartico. Everything else has been purchased. Once done with Mega Shard farming, I'd return to the battle zone to close out the last 2 objectives I need before the final catches. And about 20 minutes later, this happened. Oh my god. That's it. With that, the shiny charm for the 2nd time and level 50 completion.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough. This was it. Those stones were the last purchases I needed to make, and now it was time for the final 3 Pokemon and one last trainer battle. I started the final day 15 by heading into Wild Zone 11 to catch Xerneas. Between the 2 save files, you did 2,000 battles? Yeah, I did. Oh, I'm gonna catch that thing. Don't you worry, Mabel. I love this song. Run, 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 run. That was so easy. Then headed to the rooftop of Galerie de la Lune over in Rouge Sector 2 to catch Yveltal. I think I'll bring you out. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this. Then I'm gonna do this. Then I'm gonna do this. And that did not work. Please stop being difficult. Thank you. With both legends caught, I headed back to Hotel Z for one final trainer battle against L. He does not start with the Floridas, but I brought out the right Pokemon anyways. Now you bring up Floridas. I'm gonna heal again just in case. Mr. Shrimp. Oh, fuck! Ugh. Okay. Crisis averted. After defeating L, Zygarde shows up. L believes it wants to meet me at Prism Tower, and so it was time to prep for the final battle against Zygarde. During my first playthrough, I beat Zygarde with Mega Meganium, and I decided to run that strat again. I gave it Giga Drain, Leaf Blade, Reflect, and Dazzling Gleam, and then used candies to raise it to level 100. With that sorted, it was time for the final confrontation with Zygarde. Alright, I'm gonna increase this first.
Okay, good. Okay, here we go. Get the hell away from me. This is a Dark Souls boss fight, low key, and I've never played those. Sorry. Oh shit. Where's it gonna be? Where's it gonna be? Fuck. Oh. Okay, good, I got you. Fuck, okay. Where is it gonna be? Okay. Yes. Wait. Wait. Barring some great change, I doubt we will meet again, but I will carry these lessons with me. Au revoir, my young friend. And... that's time. 44 hours, 18 minutes, and 16 seconds. All Pokemon registered in the Pokedex. All Mega Evolutions registered in the Mega Evolution Pokedex. All 42 main missions. All 119 side missions. All Canary plushes purchased to level 3. Shiny Charm obtained. Level 50 research level. All Mabel research requests. And all 100 colorful screws, which gives you this reward. And because I wanted to be extra, I bought all the clothes in the game. The timer says 44 hours 18, but it's 44 hours 39 minutes in-game time. Going into this second run, I was expecting to save time, but not a whole day's worth of time, so I'm extremely pleased with the time that I got. There are some things I would have done differently for potential time saves, such as realizing I was spending too much money on repeat balls earlier, but this isn't a speedrun or anything, so it doesn't matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. At the time of this recording, there's no 100% category on the Legends ZA speedrun leaderboards, so I'm curious if one gets added in the future. Additionally, buying all the clothes isn't mandatory for 100%, I just wanted to be extra since this game gives you so many options for trainer customization, and also wanted to honor the fact that X and Y were the first games in the franchise to allow the player to customize their looks. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. This run took a lot of time and effort, and I'm very proud of the work I put in. I'm still figuring out what I want my channel to be and what kind of videos I want to make, so I hope you can subscribe and watch me find out how I take my channel forward. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.